All right, here for another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. This show is brought to you by the Basketball Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Drew,
And I'm BJ.
and we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. Back once again for one of the final episodes of 2022 as we round out the year. BJ, it's gone by
Man,
so fast.
it went by in a blink of an eye, my friend. I cannot believe we are just days away from Christmas and even, just a few more days away from 2023. It feels like at times we should still be back in the university days and covering the Lions still. But that's
Man,
not the case. I mean,
you
it's just amazing. You know,
take it.
in May, it'll have been 5 years since I got my degree.
Man, you're getting
Good
old, brother.
Lord, I am
You're getting
getting
old, brother.
old.
5 years
Man.
since you got your degree. I just hit the 2 year mark out. You know, two
Yeah.
years and 10 days ago from today's date as we record on a Thursday, the
Yeah.
22nd. So, man,
Man.
time really is flying. It's crazy to think that mine was 2 years ago and that time's lickety split. And to think two
Hmm.
years ago, BJ, I wasn't even a broadcaster yet.
No.
Can you
No, I
believe that?
know. It's
Man.
it's been ridiculous for. I mean, all things considered, obviously a lot of blessings have been bestowed upon us both, and it's just amazing when you think about how like it feels like it wasn't more than yesterday, but in
Hmm.
reality, it's been 5 years almost, and so. But I'm not complaining. It kind of just boggles your mind.
Yeah, the older we get, the faster it goes by. It's crazy. You know, we were going
Yeah.
through. Well, we won't get on this.
I was
We'll
gonna say,
save it.
I was
Let's
gonna
save
say,
this.
yeah, yeah. We got plenty of time, especially when I got like a birthday coming up here pretty soon, and then so that really does kind of hit home when how old and how much older than I am than I actually feel.
Getting old. All
uh,
right, ladies and gentlemen, today full show on tap for you as we round out 2022 in the second to last week of the year. And we got some basketball Hall of Fame to talk about, some new candidates, class of 2023, people eligible.
you
Got to let you know about them, talk about those candidates. Also got
star
BJ's
studded.
best, what's on Drew's mind, and also talking those NBA Christmas Day games that are just a few days away as we have a Sunday Christmas special of some big time games going on, and I can't
Huge.
wait for it. Getting ready for that NBA Christmas Day commercial as well. BJ, we'll talk about. I'll bring up a legendary Christmas commercial later,
Oh, I
and
think I know where you're going
we'll
with
see
it.
we'll see which one you like. And somebody bought the Phoenix Mercury and the Phoenix Suns. We'll let you know
Something to
who
talk
here in a
about
bit.
there. Yeah.
With it or quit it, of course, on tap as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, when BJ is ready, we'll get it going.
Let's do it, Drew.
Oh, I think he's ready. All right,
I'm
let's
ready. I'm
get it.
ready.
Hall of Fame, Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame announced the list of eligible candidates for the class of 2022, or sorry, 2023, including several high-profile first-time nominees, including champion Pau Gasol, former MVP, legend, and champion Dirk Nowitzki, former legend, champion Tony Parker, Greg Popovich, former champion, legend, Finals MVP Dwayne Wade, and the 1976 U.S. Olympic women's basketball team. A first look at the eligible nominees was provided by NBA Today on ESPN, hosted by Malika Andrews, Richard Jefferson, and Chiney Ogwumike, Kendrick Perkins, and Zach Lowe. A complete list of eligible candidates can be found right here. I just read it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And did I
well,
see did I also see Becky Hammond's name on
I
there,
read.
Drew?
Yeah, I read you some. This it's a long list of the
Mm-hmm.
eligible people. So we've got the
Mm-hmm.
whole list of the eligible North American men,
Yeah.
women's nominations, international veterans, women's veterans, contributor. I mean, there's a lot of
Oh
there's
yeah,
a lot of people.
it is
We'll
a
be
lot.
here
Yeah.
for a while, so I'll just kind of hop through some notable names that are eligible for
Mm-hmm.
the upcoming class. Chauncey Billups,
Yeah.
Joey Crawford, referee.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's
Michael
see.
Finley. That's a
Yeah,
name that makes
Mark Jackson.
yeah.
Um,
You look at someone like a
Player from Texas A&M.
Jim Loranga.
Yeah, and you mentioned Becky Hammond.
Yeah.
Kim
Did you mention Sean Marion?
did not. I missed him, I guess. Oh,
Ro-
there he is. Yeah, Sean
yeah.
Marion on there.
And Rolly Massimino. Dick
Right.
Motta, another Maverick connection there.
Doug Collins.
Yeah. Jim Phelan, Bo Ryan are some big names there.
Oh yeah, got a good
Kim
amount of.
Mulkey. Kim Mulkey is
Yeah,
eligible.
mentioned Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Gary
there's a
Blair. Yeah.
yeah a lot of good names on here, but those are some of the most notable
Mm-hmm.
of the ones that are on there, eligible candidates that we know are pretty much shoe-ins for the most part. But yeah, big time names on this list, just from the ones we mentioned directly, BJ, that you heard of before we got to this big list.
Mm-hmm.
Pal Gasol, Dirk, Tony Parker, Popovich, and D Wade, along with that a women's basketball team from 1976. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
about those high-profile nominees?
Yeah, I mean it's I saw this list and I'm like, if this is all the nominees, then I can't see anybody getting snubbed. But now that I see there's a huge list, even more so, it'll be different. There will be some that will miss out, but I imagine regardless of where they go, there will be some. It'll be a star-studded class. Drew, this is a lot of talent, a lot of big name players and coaches, especially if Parker and Popovich go in together. The what made those Spurs
That'd be
teams
cool.
that won the championships throughout the late 2000s and early 2010s so formidable. They had Tony Duncan or Tim Duncan. I
Combine some
said
names
I
there.
was saying Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, and I
Not
got the
cutting that
two.
out.
I know I put the two of them together without meaning to. But you had Tim Duncan, he's already in the Hall of Fame. You had Manu Ginobili, are already in the Hall of Fame, and then Tony Parker, and all three of the big three in San Antonio were coached by Greg Popovich, and so they all deserved to go in. And this is the last kind of the last two names that we were waiting on, and it would mean a whole lot to the state of Texas basketball wise for those two to get in, as well as, I mean, you're not going to leave Dirk Nowitzki out. He's a top 5 player all time in terms of scoring. His contributions to the game and opening up, for Germans especially, and what he's meant to the city of Dallas. It's going to be a huge class, especially just when you talk about
Yeah,
the state of Texas. Becky Hammond, a lot of
yeah,
years in San Antonio as well, not just with
yeah.
the Spurs, but also with the Silver Spurs,
Stars.
um, Silver Stars. I Anyway, it's been one of those kind of days. I blame the cold, Drew. I
All
blame the
good.
cold.
No, you're
We
true.
get
You're good.
getting me tongue tied.
And it would be quite the run for Becky too. Coming
Yeah,
into the WNBA, getting the championship coach of the
first
year, and
year.
then before the next season starts, boom, enshrined into the Naismith Hall of Fame. Crazy,
Absolutely, and I think this is
man.
just for her attributes as a player, but
Yes, there.
certainly can't fault her adding the championship in her first year as a head coach, and that'll be
Hmm.
nice addition to her plaque when she does get in the Hall of Fame, whether it's this year or not. But she'll probably go in as both player and coach at some point. You'd expect.
Yeah,
Um, it's gonna be very interesting to keep an eye on that. And Dwayne Wade is a lock. I cannot imagine that Dwayne Wade is going to miss out in his first year of
yeah.
eligibility. Out of the names that we talked about, like, one name that I was kind of surprised, but I'm not at the same time. And this would be if any of those big name, players that you mentioned were going to miss out the first year. I think it would be Paul Gasol, and I don't think he's not going to make it in or
Nah,
anything.
man.
But
I
when
don't.
you talk about how much, like how the level of how many candidates and where they are on the all-time ranks of this class, it's kind of like you're trying to find so many slots to play, put names on your ballot to vote for. And Paul Gasol would be near the bottom of it, and he might not make it for some of these others. It's going to be very tough.
I
I
don't know.
think he'll
I
make
think
it.
I think
I think he'll
Pal's
make
right
it.
on in there, man. I mean, there's their arguments that he could have been the Finals MVP for
Hmm.
2010. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And
yeah,
he's the and Kobe said it himself that Pal was the reason that they won that series because I mean,
yeah.
he pretty much he went nuclear. He played amazing
Oh yeah,
basketball and
oh yeah.
just two-time champ. Dominant guy in his Grizzlies days.
Yeah.
Real staple for the
I'm
Lakers
not saying
championship
I don't think
runs.
he belongs in there, and I'm not saying I don't think he'll get in there. I'm just saying when you look at the rest of the names, everything like that, when you're looking at it, it's not like it's not he doesn't belong there. I'm not saying that. It's just I want to prioritize getting these in these guys, and then of course like a Becky Hammond, that 1976 team that you mentioned as well, and so I know it's different committees and they vote on different things. I'm just curious as to like how many votes they're allowed, and how many names are already kind of already locked in on these ballots.
Right.
So
Well,
that's where it'll be interesting to come down to and watch when the voting is announced, and we'll find out around the end of college basketball season, will we not? Who is going to be?
yeah, the entire class of 2023, including those selected by direct elect committees, will be unveiled during the NCAA Final Four in Houston on Saturday, April 1st. Is that a joke?
Oh no, I
Man,
hope
there
it's
that's
not.
that's a terrible day to be having. There's gonna be all kinds of jokes. Like there might be some fake
Yeah.
reveals or something
Maybe maybe
nationally
they'll leak it the
televised.
night before or something like that, so that it
Maybe
doesn't get
that might be a good
have to be
idea
a press release on the first April
because it
Fool's
says it's
Day.
gonna come out at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern. So I mean, it could
Hmm.
be just because of possible leakage, they could drop it at midnight or something. I don't know, or a fake one
Yeah.
would drop at midnight. Oh my goodness, too many possibilities there.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say
in
let's get our April Fool's jokes ready. Who do you want to put into the Hall of Fame? That's obviously not going to get it.
yeah, and the
Airbud
en-
get your vote too.
the enshrinement would begin at the Mohegan Sun on Friday, August 11th, with tip-off celebration and awards gala, followed by the enshrinement ceremony on Saturday, August 12th at Springfield's historic Symphony Hall. There you go. Full down there.
Absolutely, good stuff. There's a lot of big names on this, and it's going to be very interesting to see um, who all gets in. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a huge class, Drew, and I'm not going to be a bit surprised if you're talking double digits again. I think we talked about this last year, and there's it's going to be double digit inductees again.
Yeah, it definitely is possible, BJ. A lot of talented people here going into the Hall of Fame. Um, just a marvelous class.
Absolutely.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for BJ's Best.
Well, thank you, Drew. Well, it is. It is just a couple days short of Christmas here as we record on a Thursday, 3 days away now on December the 22nd. And Drew, I was inspired because of the weather today. I don't know if you kind of saw this in your neck of the woods. We'll get we'll tell here in just a moment. But for me at least, I was kind of lethargic today. I didn't really go out and do anything because it was so stinking cold, Drew. It was in the low 20s, and even right now, as we record live, it is 16 degrees. And I cannot remember the last time that we had flurries this close to Christmas. I think it's been at least a decade. And so I wanted to go back and check, and sure enough, my hunch was right. It has been 10 years since the last time we had flurries and snow on Christmas. And obviously, it's
Mm,
not Christmas today, but I don't know if you remember this, but
I do not.
on Christmas Day 2012 here in North Texas, the National Weather Service uh, noticed that a strong upper level system and cold front first brought hail producing thunderstorms to the region, then a winter weather event that included snow and sleet. So a lot of hail and occasionally some slightly larger hail. It says a lot of pea sized hail. Um, Greatest concentration of heavy snow was in western Denton County and Collin County. 4 to 6 inches of snow fell on Christmas Day in 2012 in those counties. Also, isolated locations that received 4 to 6 inches of snow in Parker, Grayson, Fannin, Hunt, and Emery counties. So, a lot of areas in the North Texas area on Christmas Day 2012 was the last time that we had a white Christmas, if you will, with snowfall on Christmas Day. So I was curious as to looking back at some of the history of that. In 2009, Christmas Eve there was rare blizzard-like conditions that impacted areas of the metroplex. Some locations received as much as 9 inches of snow up around northwest of the metroplex. You go to Jacksboro, Bowie, and northwestern Cook County, and portions of Highway 287 between Decatur and Wichita Falls were impassable Christmas Eve to Christmas morning as a result of that. At DFW Airport, they recorded 3 inches of snow, which was the first measurable snowfall on record on Christmas Eve. Was
Mm,
back in 2009. Going back a few years earlier, 2004, up to 2 inches of snow fell across most of north central Texas. That was actually today's date. So it's been almost 20 years. It was 18 years ago that snow in much of the north central Texas area fell, and the greatest totals actually approached 4 inches near
mm,
Stephenville and east of the Sherman and Denison areas. So,
okay.
a couple other times while we've been alive, few snow flurries across north central Texas on Christmas Eve 20 years ago in 2002.
Mm,
Heavy rain and then freezing rain impacted Texas and the DFW area between December 25th and 27th in 2000. And in 97 and 98, snow mixed with rain fell on Christmas night in 97, and freezing rain, sleet, and snow fell in many areas of the Metroplex on December the 23rd of 1998. Wintry precipitation continued in Christmas Eve. Icy patches remained through the region on through Christmas Day. So it's not as rare as it might feel, but it's been a while since we've had, kind of snow flurries here in the Metroplex. At least 10 years until today, because I didn't take any pictures or anything like that, but I saw outside my house earlier today. There were definitely flurries that were falling, and the wind was blowing them all around, and just it didn't stick or anything like that. It was too warm yesterday for any accumulation. But honestly, I'm okay with that, Drew. I don't know about you, but
yeah.
driving on ice is not fun. I've had to do that before, and it's never ideal.
No, not at all. And yeah, it wasn't sticking. It was going out there. It was
Hmm.
snowing for sure though. It was snowing pretty good. Like
Yeah,
you could see clear snowflakes for a bit. But
it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see.
yeah,
It was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything today.
I only wish it would have stuck just for photography purposes.
Yeah,
But I didn't see it. I didn't get to be out enough in it to get go out and get the pictures I want and stuff like that. But
yeah,
new purposes as snow comes around nowadays to take pictures of it instead of
yeah.
playing it. It's way too cold. Maybe
Well, I'll tell you this, Drew. The past couple years, it's been late January and early February that we've had like snowfall here in this area, and that's usually what we're accustomed to. We normally get the really severe, the heavier like chances for that later on in winter. It's usually not this early into the winter season that we get snow in this area. So
yeah.
that's something to keep an eye on. Past 2 years, we've had obviously earlier this year we had some snow. It kind of you know, uh, prohibited you from going too far for a couple of days. And then last year was just that week that will always be referred to around these parts as Snowmageddon.
Mhm.
So,
Man.
so if you're probably going to get another chance, I would think before we get into the spring for you to get some pictures of snow. I'm
Hope
sure of it.
so. We might wake up with some snow. Who knows?
I'm
'Cause it's
sure
gonna
of
get
it, Drew.
pretty
I'm
cold
sure of it.
tonight. Yeah.
But
So.
there might be some snow on in some other areas, Drew, especially those some of
Hmm?
those places that are going to be hosting some of those Christmas Day games. Isn't
Ah,
that right?
yes. Yeah.
We'll talk about those games here in just a moment.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But that is BJ's best.
Ah, a wonderful BJ's best. Very
Thank
Christmassy.
you.
A very.
It's a very festive day, as you can tell
There you
from
go.
the
Oh
way that
yeah.
the poof ball hat here
And
for
you
me.
came in all Sandy Claus, so
Yeah.
yes,
But,
sir.
but why are you the Grinch? Why are you feeling like
I
stealing
don't know. I
Christmas?
just no. I didn't know what to. I didn't know what to pick. I came in and I saw your Sandy Claus, and I was like, oh, I don't know which way to go with this. I was just like, the Grinch.
I do like the in the emphasizing the in the Grinch.
I was gonna be Uncle Scrooge, but I was like, nah, that's not as cool. I don't know. I don't know. I like that one.
Oh man, that's good.
Uh,
That's some good stuff.
yeah, and plenty
Man,
of we talked about basketball Hall of Famers.
yeah.
NBA season heating up. We say this week in and week out. It's actually probably chilling down as it's heating. Is it
Yeah, I
cooling
was gonna
off
say
now?
we
It's
want the
like,
season to heat us up because it's so cold
yeah,
outside, Drew.
yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
goodness.
That's what we need. There's some Hall of Famers out playing on Christmas Day this year, BJ.
Hmm.
Make sure you guys check that out. There's still so many unknown uh, so much unknown potential in the games coming up on Christmas Day. And I mean, we didn't know whether the Mavs were going to even win last night. That was
Yeah,
enough, but
that was
whole bunch of
really close game. Yeah.
whole bunch of whole bunch of games on Christmas that you can go out and get your bets in on. When I'm looking to get on in on the action, BJ, I bet with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet just $5 pre-game money line on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do.
Yeah, that's right, Drew. Obviously, we've got those big games coming up on Sunday. We'll talk a little bit more about those from a betting angle here in just a moment. But before you do, if you're looking to go into Christmas Day with some money in your pocketbook, maybe you look at the Mavericks as a favorite on the road in Houston. They're going to obviously play that game on Friday night, and then they'll be at home for the Lakers on Christmas Day. Also, other games that you might want to tune into, a really good matchup between Milwaukee and Brooklyn in store. I think I'm going to take the Nets. I think I'm going to go with the Nets. They've been playing really hot
Oh
at
yeah.
home, especially here in the last couple of days. I'm going to take them as the home favorite. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And then, of course, that huge matchup everybody's looking forward to tomorrow night in Phoenix between the Grizz and the Suns. And I think the Grizzlies bounce back after that thumping they took in Denver just the other night. So if you're looking for some of BJ's best bets, maybe you go that way.
Hey.
But here's what you do, Drew. To In order to do the same thing that I'm going to do, you can go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same game parlay. Everyone that places a same game parlay can earn up to a 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. You combine multiple bets like which team's going to win. I just told you, maybe you should look into some of those bets. Total number of rebounds that the teams will accumulate and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. And who doesn't like a big win as a huge stocking stuffer this Christmas?
Yes, indeed. Download the app now. Sign up with code TBPN. Place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Drew. Well, we're not quite ready to talk about those Christmas Day matchups. Well, we will here in a moment, but first, we've got to find out what's on Drew's mind, or should I say, what's on the Grinch's mind today. Have you been slinking around looking for some Who pudding and roast beef to take out of the Who's ice boxes?
Well, BJ, what's on my mind today? Not the Grinch, but Drew. There's a couple of things this time around. First, it's Salt Bay. Are you
Salt Bay.
familiar with
The
Salt
the
Bay?
meme where the guy that just drops the salt on the
Yes, both.
okay,
I mean, he is the meme. Yes, it's
okay,
the same.
that
Yes,
so that's his meme. Okay,
yes, yes.
gotcha.
Salt Bay.
Salt
Did
Bay.
you know that he was at the World Cup?
I did not know that, Drew. I must have missed that.
Did you know that he also was on the field at the World Cup?
Oh, I had no idea, man.
Did you also know that he took a picture with Messi and held the World Cup trophy?
Man, it sounds like he's got some clearances that you and I don't.
Did you also know that he wasn't supposed to do any of that?
Well, I was kind of thinking, like, wait,
And he
how's
is
he?
hereby banned from the 2023 World Cup final from the U.S. Open Cup
Wow. So
officially.
he doesn't get to come to America for the 2026 one then, huh?
And he is currently under investigation for all of that.
Wow.
Everything being on the field.
My
It,
goodness.
he looks like he has a credential around his neck. If you've seen the pictures of him, but if you look and like I've seen one of the other pictures in it. It's the one that says he's banned, I believe. No, it's a picture
Mhm.
with Messi here. It's just purple, like it doesn't have anything else on it. It's just
Well,
purple. It doesn't
that's not
have anything.
that's not on him then. Somebody needs to do a better job making sure that his clearance checks out.
Right, and
Somebody who's not doing their job in Qatar.
Bleacher Report just a couple of hours ago said FIFA is investigating how Salt Bay and others, there are others, I guess, gained
Others, wow.
quote undue access to the pitch after the World Cup final. The popular chef took photos with Argentina players while holding the World Cup trophy, and FIFA states the trophy can only be held by a quote very select group of people.
Mm. Well, okay. Let me ask
It's
this.
funny.
They just had the celebratory parade in Argentina a couple days ago.
Mhm.
If the team decides like, yeah, we want to let this person hold it at the trophy parade celebration type deal in their home country, how's FIFA exactly going to regulate that? Or is it just who's allowed to hold it at the official, like at the end of the World Cup final?
I don't know. I'm getting
Okay.
caught up in the memes underneath and the comments.
Oh my goodness.
One person was just saying, "Dude was literally cringy the entire time and ruined the moment." Uh, Somebody said FIFA top hustlers are going to be like, and it's a picture of Chris Tucker from Friday where he says, "You didn't put in on this, man." And then somebody said, "This is like if I went back to my high school and held the state championship trophy when I didn't even play high school football."
Yeah, I was gonna say that's we I've gotten lucky enough that I got to hold the Division II national championship that A&M Commerce won 5 years ago now here just a couple days ago, in fact, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
I did get to hold that up, and I have a picture of that. In fact, that's for the longest time has been my profile picture over on Twitter.
But BJ, you didn't walk on the football field
No,
when they won the Natty,
no,
grab
and
the
hold it
trophy,
up
and be like,
then. No,
"Yeah, Commerce, this is for you."
yeah, no, I didn't do anything like
Yeah,
that. It's
or
funny
just
enough,
go
but
take pictures with Carthel, be like, "Yeah," like like you're
yeah.
Tim and you hired him or something. You know,
Yeah.
and Salt Bay is on the field with his what looks like a fake credential, and his picture with this other Argentina player. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. Um, he's the golden medal. He's got the medal in his mouth. He's got the man's medal in his mouth in this picture. Like talk
Oh
about doing
no.
the most, and then
That's
do
yeah,
some
that's a
more.
that's a
That's
bit
what
too
he did.
much. That's
That's
too
what he.
much. That's a bit over the top there.
So Salt Bay, he made his way onto what's on Drew's mind today as a 1B slide in here, or a
Yeah.
bonus, I should
Yeah.
say.
Well,
Um,
Salt Bay is Salt banned from
yeah, there you
2026
go.
from for the US
Yeah,
World Cup. So that's funny. What else is on your mind though?
and who knows what else is gonna happen to him after whatever investigation findings.
Yeah.
What else is on my mind, BJ? That's a good question. It's Christmas,
Okay.
of
Okay.
course. Three
Makes
days
sense.
away from Christmas as we
Hmm.
record on a Thursday, as always. 3 days away, 2 days from when this drops.
Hmm.
And, as we get older, BJ, it doesn't seem as Christmassy for
Yeah.
us. Maybe because we're not in the house with our families. So, our moms have, things dressed up, and it's the Christmas vibes for,
Yeah.
at least a full month. Or if you're a parent, that sets it up right after Halloween, you get it for 2 full months, Christmas
Yeah.
tree and all the works.
Yeah.
So, but it's not the same when you get older. And especially like if you're out
Yeah.
living by yourself, you're a single guy like myself. What am I
Yeah.
putting up a tree for? I'm not hosting Christmas in my house.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't have the big Christmas tree posted up. I don't have a stocking sitting
Mhm.
in here. I'm not pouring up no eggnog. I'm not doing any hot cocoa and marshmallows with the fam bam in my PJs or anything. I'm
Yeah,
just a I'm just a you're
you
doing
just
just a
yeah,
doing, you
it's
know?
just normal life. It's just,
Right.
oh, it happens to be the week before Christmas. Yeah, I can
Right.
understand that.
Right. And my Santa hats are even at my mom's. I don't even have them with me.
I
Got a Cowboys one.
I borrowed this one from my mom. So
Yeah. So it just changes. It changes as we get older, and
yeah.
we get away sometimes. Well, I want to let me backpedal. Christmas, there's a lot of things that people gravitate to for traditions within Christmas. Does your
Yeah.
family have any traditions that you guys do each and every Christmas?
Used to. It's been really tough for past few years. When we lost my grandma, it was kind of tough for us to want to do the same traditions that meant so much. And so what we kind of did for the big holidays is we tried to do something different, and that became the tradition. And then even then, that hasn't been the same. I lost my granddad last year, and so
Mm.
it's kind of even doing something different now we can't go and do that because that has doesn't feel the same without him being there. So it's kind of been the past couple years, this year especially, and last year I should say, um, have been uniquely different. Last year we weren't even here at the house, and this year we're not going to be either. So it's kind of getting away from the normal feel of things, but it's good kind of different. We're making some new traditions as we go.
And there are a lot of different traditions. Some families make up their own. Some carry on with the ones they've learned from shows or brought down from their families that they just learned from their parents and so on.
Hmm.
And I just want to go through a list of some popular, supposedly popular, they are
Hmm.
popular, Christmas traditions in the U.S. and see if these stick uh, in your proverbial Christmas calendar or Christmas
Okay.
time
Yeah,
calendar
absolutely.
every year, whether it be solo or with a fan band.
Yeah, it's funny
Okay.
because actually this year we're going to plan to try to do like make some stuff that we haven't made in such a long time for this Christmas. Like this will be the first year that we've attempted to make some of the Christmas specialties that we had done in the past. So
There you
it'll be
go.
interesting to answer these.
All right. Well, here's a common one that you probably do, and
Hmm.
I believe you've talked about one of these already,
Okay.
and that's watch a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like this is one definitely everybody can get with no matter what.
And it didn't. I mean, depending upon what movie. Like I would say over the course of this week, we've watched about 4 or 5 of the different Christmas staples, if you will, and then that doesn't include my mom, who seemingly at times when I'm not around will have the Hallmark Channel on 24/7. It feels like, which isn't exactly my jam, but that's nothing wrong with that for her if that's what she wants to do. So
And BJ, I've got a list of the top performing Christmas movies based on ticket sales
okay,
here. I'm gonna go from 10 to 1 here.
all right,
Number 10, Four Christmases.
okay,
Number 9, The Santa Claus 2.
gotcha.
Number 8, The Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
Don't think I've
Number
seen that one.
7, The Santa Claus 1, the original.
Hmm.
Number 6, The Holiday. Number 5, Elf.
Yep.
Number 4, The Polar Express.
Oh yeah.
Number 3, A Christmas Carol. Number 2, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Hmm.
And number 1, The Grinch.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is the one that's the number one is the most recent, the one that Illumination did, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. It's interesting that that one's the top performing one of all time, but I think it's because it's a family movie and it's more recent. And I mean, you can never underestimate how big the Illumination effect has been for box office. So
And next up, Christmas tradition. Of course, most people do this, and unless those special cases, set up a Christmas tree.
yeah,
I don't have a life-size Christmas tree, but my mom actually recently brought me a small one. Which, if you've seen my Snapchat already,
mhm,
BJ, then it's on there.
yeah,
And if not, here's another one that's on there and lit. This little
I
one,
love
just
it. I
just a
love it. That's
switch
so cute.
pre-lit. This
Yeah,
little desktop one. So my desk is festive over here. So we've got some Christmassy vibes while I'm over here doing my thing.
I love
Um,
it. Good stuff.
Next up, string up home and yard decorations. So Christmas lights and then Christmas props and blow ups and things. I've seen quite a few out in Sulphur Springs. Do you guys have any Christmas lights or decorations, BJ?
We used to put up lights, no decorations. Even that's one of the things that we haven't done in the past couple of years because it hadn't felt the same.
Right.
So, but we're one of the few on our street that doesn't actually, which is funny. But my mom was talking about maybe getting one of those like laser lights for next year that she could just put in the yard and like drive all the cats crazy because it's just pointing, like red and green on the house and laser.
Yeah.
So,
Another tradition, which my family hasn't done this. We never had one, I don't believe. That's
mhm.
hang the mistletoe.
No,
Yeah, that's not one of those as common things, I don't believe. Unless you're
I
just
think I
trying
think
to,
that I think there's too many jokes that can be made if you want to
yeah,
hang up the mistletoe. Got to be all lovey dovey for that.
yeah. Host or join a Christmas dinner.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, aside from like the regular like Christmas dinner, I think this means like like with friend groups or something.
maybe.
I don't know because
We used to,
everybody has dinner on Christmas,
yeah,
so I figured that's what it was.
we used to host, and then we've kind of just joined the past couple of years.
Right,
So,
been there. Bake Christmas cookies and decorate gingerbread houses. This is definitely one of those friend group things. I see a lot of people
mhm,
on my Snapchats and Instagrams doing this with their friend groups from college and or high school, mostly college. Um, and just getting together and they have friendsgivings, so they do things like
mhm,
this to make these houses, take pictures, whatever,
yeah,
just as a tradition thing. And I personally never been a part of any of them. I think it would be cool just to
yeah.
see what the experience would be like. And
I've done gingerbread houses in the past. They always end up being so messy.
yeah, it seems like it
So
would be. And I'm not
yeah,
artistic like that. It would
no.
be ugly.
Yeah, no, it's just like I mean, once you put it together, it's especially when I was a kid, it's like okay, now it's time to like want to pick it apart and start eating it, and then
Yeah,
they you get the slap on the wrist. Say, don't do that. So
right. Over here, like y'all. This how y'all play with y'all food? No, okay. Exchange gifts, of course.
hmm, yeah,
You got a Christmas
absolutely.
tree up there, probably presents under it, and
Yep.
somebody's probably
Hmm.
opening them.
Yep.
And somebody probably got them for you, and you probably got some for someone else.
Oh,
The exchanging.
I made the joke the other day. I said I'll never financially recover from this Christmas.
Yeah,
That's how much I've been spending on
yeah.
gifts for everybody. So
I just got a cool gift for my mom. She's not gonna check out this episode in time, I don't think so.
yeah.
Um, I just got her a gift, a little canvas picture of her and her soon-to-be husband, and
Hmm.
just got it from Walmart. And it looks good, but I was indecisive on how I wanted it. The original orientation was to be like this,
Hmm.
the straight this way vertical.
Yeah.
I changed it to horizontal, and the canvas kind of wraps. So
Oh,
it
okay.
like, kind of got their forehead wrapped at the top and then like the
Ooh.
hands at the bottom. So like it's a good picture still in the front
Mhm.
of it, but like it's not the whole thing like I wanted. But
Yeah.
if I would have done it vertical, it would have looked just fine.
Kind of.
But
Yeah.
it still looks good, but and they'll still like it, I think. But
Yeah. Oh
it
yeah.
went from being like an A plus gift in my mind to like a C minus. So
Oh man.
I was
Hey,
like,
you know what? You're being too
just
hard on yourself because
I am
it's
being
the
hard.
thought that counts, and she's gonna
Yes,
love it
yeah,
regardless because you did it something nice for her. I'm not gonna say what I've got in store for my mom, but I've got something I think that's gonna be pretty nice that I think she'll really like, and I'll have to let you know what the reaction is gonna be at the aftermath. So
heck yeah,
because I know she
cool.
can hear me. I mean, she's over in
Yeah,
the other room, but
right. Can't be sneaking ears in on your Christmas present.
yeah, I don't want to do that. It was bad enough
No.
while I was trying to wrap some stuff the other day. She was bringing stuff in. I was like, "Hey, no peeking," and
Nope.
she's like, I'm not."
Watching
So
you. But BJ, that's what's on Drew's mind today.
awesome stuff, Drew. I mean, it's perfect because we've been talking about it, and it ties right in to our next topic with the NBA's Christmas Day games. So Christmas on your mind for with good reason. So here are the matchups, Drew, that are coming up on Sunday that we will be talking about. The one of the early games is actually one of the best games here seemingly there's a there's something to really like about all of these games, with certain few exceptions. But we'll start with the first game up. That'll be on ABC starting at 11 a.m. Central, so that's a noon Eastern kick. Well, not kick, but tip off, I should say. Uh, with the Philadelphia 76ers traveling to Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Knicks, who until just the other night, Drew, were the hottest team in the NBA. They had won 8 straight games. That now is over, finito, complete, but they're still a really good team. Drew, this is looking like it's going to be a really good matchup for once, and we might actually have a really decent game in New York on Christmas Day.
Yeah, Nick's finally surging, and it took 52 points from Pascal Siakam to
Mm-hmm.
end that 8 game winning streak. So the
Yeah,
Knicks are playing really good basketball. The 76ers are as well. I
yeah,
don't think they're going to get Maxey back in time for this, but it's still going to be a good game nonetheless between both teams. So that's a good way to kick off the basketball action. Who you got in that one, BJ? I'm going to go with Philly.
I'll go with the Knicks because just to be a little bit different.
Okay.
I think that Knicks have been playing some really good basketball right now. As you mentioned, it took Pascal Siakam breaking 50, and I know the Sixers can. They got a couple of guys that can go for 50 at any time if they're playing well. I just think the New York's defense is what's going to be the difference maker. I'll take the Knicks in the Garden to win at home. The next game up is right after that game. It's also on ABC. It will be between the Los Angeles Lakers and our Dallas Mavericks. It's going to be interesting to watch LeBron and Luca square off on Christmas Day, Drew.
Man, what is this thing with LeBron versus my team all the time? It's been happening for 11 years and
Yeah, yeah.
I just can't win.
No.
But the Mavs sure can against the Lakers here, especially since they don't have Anthony Davis. It
Hmm.
would take a really good night from not only LeBron but Westbrook as well.
Yeah,
And we're just I don't know. We'll have to see. Depends on what Mavericks show up. So I think that'll be a really good game too. But
yeah,
two teams that are trying to figure themselves out in the midst of everything. Mavs at 500, Lakers a little bit below. Luca vying for an MVP, LeBron a former MVP. Luca's going to be going at Bron like
yeah,
he always does when they play each other, going at his favorite player, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, Luca versus LeBron on Christmas. That's super dope. Um,
yeah.
and
It's
this is the
it's
second time that I've had LeBron versus the Mavs on Christmas. It happened 10 years ago, BJ.
yeah, that's right. And I think the Mavericks won that game, did they not?
I don't remember actually.
It's been so long, I can't
Yeah,
remember either.
yeah.
It's going to be interesting, Drew. I think what's going to be determining because the Mavs have been at 500 seemingly all year. They cannot really get going one way or the other. So I think if you're Dallas and you want to win on Christmas, you might need to lose at Houston. I know that sounds like terrible, but it seems like whatever they've got going, they play much better after a loss than they do after a win. So you would think that they would like to get a winning streak going, and that would be, potentially start on the road in Houston. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, Drew. It's been really weird seeing the Mavs in this funk. Hopefully, that win in Minnesota the other night is what kind of rights the ship, and they can really get that winning streak going. And by the time we get to next week's episode, maybe they'll have 3 or 4 game winning streak coming in.
Well, BJ, I'm gonna go with the Lakers in this one. The road team wins again on Christmas Day
Oof.
over the Mavs.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna be a homer. I'll just
There
to
you
be
go.
different. I'm gonna take Mavericks. I think Luca and company are gonna have some high flying, spectacular stuff in store on Christmas Day
I mainly say this, BJ, because I
because
know
you want to
these.
be wrong.
Well, no, Lakers versus Mavs tickets were up there. So I feel like
Hmm.
it's going to end up being like that playoff game where the tickets went up and only the big pocketed folks will be there and us rowdy Mavs fans will be watching from home. So we won't get to shake up the AAC and get that dub
Oh,
for the
I don't
Mavs.
think that'll be.
We'll
I think
see.
there'll be a lot of. I think there'll be some Laker fans there for sure. I know there'll be a lot of MFFLs there though, and I think that it'll be a really good fan base.
But
And
buddy, this next matchup.
how about the next matchup? It's a
Oh man.
leader of the East, a really great matchup in store from
couple
the
of
TD
MVP
going.
candidates.
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jason Tatum square off as Milwaukee travels to Boston to take on the Celtics. Bucks and Celtics, and this really does feel like another matchup that could really go either way. This is going to be a fantastic one to watch.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to be locked in on this one. I better be good and buzzed at this point, BJ. Ready for this jam packed action. Jason Tatum versus Giannis. Oh, man. I hope Middleton's going to be healthy and being able to play for this game. That'll add a good another dynamic to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun. I'm gonna take the Celtics to win this one at home. Finally, a home team wins on Christmas Day, on my side of things here. Boston Celtics take it over the Milwaukee Bucks and assert their dominance on Christmas, as they're probably making their way back to the finals potentially this year.
I'm not trying to be obstinate, but this actually, before you said that, I thought I was going to be agreeing with you. I'm going to take Milwaukee. I'll go with the road team here. I think that it's going to be, I know Giannis loves playing on Christmas. I think he always seems to have really good performances when the Bucks play on Christmas, and I think he's going to be the one that wins
Hmm.
this game. I'm going to trust in Antetokounmpo. I'm going to take Milwaukee as the road team to win that matchup.
Okay.
The next to last game that is on Christmas Day features the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, this matchup has lost a little injury to Steph Curry that we talked about in last week's episode, Drew. And the Warriors did get a win, one of the road win on that in that 4 game span that we were talking about, but it's really tough to see them getting a victory in this contest. I think Memphis is, I think Memphis is really good. They obviously had that really head scratching game that showed how good Denver can be at times. But I
Yeah.
think that Memphis won't have any problems in this game, Drew. What say you?
Nope, not gonna have any problems at all, BJ. I think we can both firmly agree on this one. This primetime matchup of the Grizz versus Warriors, and the Grizz will beat them down, probably similar to how the Nets just did the other night in near franchise record breaking
What,
fashion. Because
91 points in the first half?
it's gonna
My
be that
goodness.
easy against these guys without Curry, because they just can't score unless some guys just have career nights, which
Hmm.
it's just gonna be hard. I mean,
Yeah.
Grizzlies are nearly fully loaded, only missing, I believe, Desmond Bain. So, and they're still potent when they're missing one of their best guys, as we know from last year when they were missing Ja, and
Yeah.
and this year when they're missing Bain. They've still been a really good team. So Grizzle, I'll put them away on Christmas. Give me the Grizz on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Right there with you. And now the nightcap, the last game that we'll be talking about on Christmas Day. And actually, Drew, if you're looking at the resale market, this is the cheapest game to get into on Christmas Day out
Mm.
of all the matchups. And it's not a horrible matchup. I'm kind of surprised by that. You've got the Phoenix Suns traveling to Denver, the Mile High City, to take on the Nuggets. And, when you've got the Nuggets trio that they've got with Murray and Barton and obviously Jokic, but Bones Highland in there as well. And then obviously Phoenix is still getting Chris Paul back. Devin Booker is going to have a phenomenal game. This really does feel like this one could go either way as well.
Yeah, it could, BJ, but I don't know. There's a lot of turmoil going on in Phoenix right now. We saw the videos of the team arguing, which we've seen teams argue before,
Mm-hmm.
but we know the personal beef between Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton. We saw the finger pointing from the both of them.
Yeah.
It's some personal beef in there. It's not good.
Yeah.
Even though DeAndre Ayton is playing amazing this year, he's already had a 2020 game
Mm-hmm.
and the Suns are playing good basketball. I think the Nuggets and the Mile High City take this one on Christmas and put away the Phoenix Suns as they figure themselves out.
I went with you in last matchup, and I'm going with you again here. I've got 3 of the
Hey.
home teams and 2 of the road teams, with Denver getting the win at home. I was really impressed with that performance I saw against Memphis just the other night. They looked just like miles above, no pun intended, of course, but just miles head and shoulders above the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies certainly not a bad team. Drew had an off night. Obviously, not having Desmond Bain really seemed to hurt, but Denver is a good team. Denver, one of the teams that's there's so many teams up there that are, nobody's kind of pulled away in the Western Conference yet, and the Nuggets are right there around the top as well as the Suns, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this one. But I'm going to trust Nikola Jokic. There's a reason why he's the two-time defending MVP, and I think he's going to make a play at the end of the game that's going to win it for Denver at home and send the Nuggets fans home with the dreams of sugar plum fairies and a top seed in the Western Conference. Give me Denver.
There you go, BJ. Good pick. Good pick.
All right, yeah. So
And
that
to
is that's what's in store. That's what's on Christmas Day, Drew.
Yep, and to round out things, we gotta talk about a recent purchase. BJ, the
Yes, we
Phoenix
do.
Mercury and the Phoenix Suns were bought by Matt Ishbia, if I'm pronouncing his name right.
I think so.
He agrees to the Suns' purchase for a record $4 billion.
Yeah.
Billionaire mortgage lender Matt Ishbia has agreed to purchase the majority stake of the Phoenix Suns and the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury for a record price of $4 billion. Ishbia and current owner Robert Sarver announced this Tuesday the deal will end Sarver's tumultuous tenure. Uh, Ishbia is well known and well regarded within the league office, including with Commissioner Adam Silver, and has developed relationships with a number of NBA owners who will have to undergo a background check and a vote of approval from the Board of Governors, but that's expected to be a formality, sources said. So, BJ, what do you make of this news? Do you think it's going to be a good turnaround for the Sun and Mercury, or what? What do you got here?
I think this is really interesting, Drew. I think it'll be a solid purchase. What strikes me is that how quickly it all seemed to happen, Drew, and especially the big time number that stands out to you, $4 billion, which is the most paid for an NBA franchise. I know there's some of that is for buying the Mercury as well, but obviously the headline is going to be for the NBA team. Um, it does strike me as as just rather fascinating how we were just a couple months ago. I think maybe less than 3 months ago was when it was announced that the team was going to be up for sale, and you never know how long these things are going to take, Drew. There have been some instances of it taking years to find a potential buyer, and then within a couple months, just before the end of 2022, the deal is pretty much in place, and it is the second most expensive sale of a franchise in the year of 2022. Obviously, back in June, the only one that tops it is the Denver Broncos deal that was for $4.65 billion. This is just, you talk about how much things have changed, Drew, in just short span of 3 years. The last time we saw an NBA team get sold, it was the Nets back in 2019, and that was only for two and
Two
a
point
half
three.
billion. Yeah. So this is interesting. I think this is going to be a really good deal. Ishbia has been apparently pursuing, trying to buy an NFL or an NBA team, and when he didn't get the Denver Broncos, he pretty much made his move when the Sarver stuff was announced, and moved quickly, and he got it. This is a lot of his net worth going into this deal, and so it's going to be really interesting. I don't think the Suns or the Mercury are really going to have to worry about falling off. I think that this is going to be a good move for the franchises.
Oh yeah, and Ishbia was a walk-on for Michigan State and
Hmm.
part of the Spartans' 2000 national championship team, and has remained close with the Hall of Fame coach Tom Izzo, and previously made a 32 million donation to the program. And quote in his statement, he said, "Basketball is at the core of my life, from my high school days as a player to the honor of playing for Coach Izzo and winning a national title at Michigan State University." So,
Yeah, so I think he's the first really like former athlete to actually make this kind of a move. Obviously, there's been other athletes like John Elway was a part of the Denver Broncos ownership group, but this is the first former athlete that we know of, if I'm not mistaken, that's like a majority owner of a
right,
franchise. So it's not necessarily something that we're
Michael
not
Jordan.
ever going to see. I think we're going to see this pop up more and more. I think at some point LeBron is going to pop up and be an owner just like
Michael
Michael
Jordan.
Jordan has
Yeah.
been. So it's just, I think, just the beginning, really, Drew.
LeBron will definitely be an owner. He'll probably be the one that brings about that Vegas team when NBA adds him expansion or
Hmm.
something, or he
Yeah,
owns Seattle when that comes back.
yeah,
One of the
I
two.
think you're
Um,
absolutely right. Also,
but
real quick before we move on, I didn't know if you saw this. The Knicks are going to be losing a second round pick for
oh
2025
yeah,
because
for
of
the
tampering. Jalen
Jalen
Brunson.
Brunson
Yeah.
tampering. But if that's all you get for tampering, Mavs need to get to work. And
I was
get
gonna
some
say, and
people
it's
in there
and
to help.
it's not even that the Mavericks are going to get that pick as a result of it. The Knicks just
Yeah.
forfeit it. So
Oh no, I'm just saying Mavs need to get to
get
tampering
to,
if we're only going to lose a
if
little
it's
second
only a
round
slap
pick.
on the wrist, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But so I thought that was interesting. It really wasn't, the punishment that I thought it was going to be, because I mean, we were talking about this back before the season even ended, that it was heavily rumored, and I would imagine talks were beginning even before we even knew about it,
oh
that
for sure.
Jalen Brunson could be going to New York in the off season. So um, it is what it is, and I mean, I think you're right. If that's all that the punishment is going to be until they get more serious about trying to crack down on it, you've got players like LeBron was openly talking about bringing in a superstar a few years ago, and then the Anthony Davis trade happened, and I mean, it just, until there's more in place to kind of punish teams that do this, what's the problem with doing it? Just making the playing field level and even.
And now it's time for with it or quit it. I
Yeah.
got 5 questions from a man BJ here. Christmassy questions. As we're gonna jump right into it. All
Yeah,
right.
let's do it.
Number one, you BJ. Growing up as kids, we typically were so anxious for Christmas. We woke up super early. Just had to wake up everybody.
Hmm.
So you BJ, I need to know. Are you still an early riser on Christmas? With it or quit it?
Yeah, quit it. I normally, it's funny because I used to be, but ever since probably when I was getting into late middle school, early high school years, it was my brothers who are all younger than me that would be the ones that would be up before I would be, and waking me up, and as well as my mom or my grandparents or anything like that on Christmas morning, and wanting to get in there
Mm-hmm.
and tear into everything. So
Yeah.
that is one benefit of being the oldest, is that I, regardless of whether I want to or not, I'm pretty much guaranteed to get woken up. But ever since we all got to be this age and older and everything like that, it's not that we wake up earlier or anything like that. It's just kind of everybody wakes up when they wake up, and then when everybody's up and ready and up and at 'em, we'll begin the Christmas gift exchange and whatnot. So
Number two, the Dallas Mavericks, per usual, the last couple of years at least, will once again, after Christmas, turn things around and play better to finish the season. With it or quit it?
I want to be with it. I'm going to say with it, because I think this is just, I don't know. We were talking about this. This is kind of the same funk that the Mavericks were in at the start of last year. The roster's a little bit different, and I just don't know if they're still trying to figure out how to work in Christian Wood and JaVale McGee, or what really has been, how much they miss that Jalen Brunson effect. And obviously, THJ is not Jalen Brunson, but when you've got guys like Dodo and Hardaway and Luca out there, you've really got to just try to figure out what works best for everybody. And there is some time that goes into figuring all that out. And I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that this is kind of, around the time that they get it figured out and go into the, New Year strong, and get it really, popping for trying to get back to where they were at the end of last year. So I'm going to say with it.
There you go. Number three, BJU. Like snow just as much now as you did as when you were a kid. With it or quit it?
It's funny. I'm gonna say with it. My mom would
Hmm.
absolutely disagree. She says she hates it because she grew up with it, and she's tired of it. But because I've never lived anywhere but here, it's still kind of one of those things that I get excited about, just because it doesn't happen that often. It's terrible to try to drive in and everything like that. I certainly, was going back and forth and working during Snowmageddon, and so I've got my fill of that. But I still get excited and still enjoy it when it happens, as long as it doesn't make things a living nightmare to try to get out and go places if necessary. So what makes it worse is when it is icy, and that's what I hate.
Yeah.
But I like the snow, so I'm gonna say with it.
There you go. Number 4. We already dug into this a little bit earlier,
Hmm.
and I don't mean to dig into your memory banks, but let me back up. You, BJ, have a favorite Christmas tradition. With it or quit it?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you kind of consider tradition. I'm
Or
trying
like
to.
whether it's family or like a standard Christmas one.
I think that it's kind of just been the past few years. My favorite
What?
tradition is just giving the gifts and seeing the faces when they get to open the gift.
Okay. Well, I mean, it can also count for like when your grandparents were here, so like 10 years ago or
Hmm.
something, like whatever y'all's favorite one was
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something, or
yeah,
whatever yours
and
was.
like I said, we're trying to,
But that works
you
too.
know, yeah, we're trying to, we got some of the old recipes out and everything like that, and we're gonna try to make it feel kind of like a throwback with some of the things that we haven't had in a while. So I
Mhm.
will say with it, because let's see how it goes for some of the things, but I'm not really particular if we don't do something one year, it's not terrible that we go without it. I just want to be basically my favorite tradition is as long as I'm with family and or friends or whatnot around this time of year.
There you go. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, BJ, number 5. And boy, I hope you're with it on this one. You want to wish all of our listeners a Merry Christmas.
Oh, I'm
With it or quit
absolutely
it?
with it.
I'm
I'm
with it.
absolutely with
I'm
it.
with it too.
Yeah, this is the obviously, without trying to bring down the mood too much. I know there are people that do struggle this time of year, and so I do want to say it's not a it's not something that if you're feeling bad, there are people out there that care about you, and they do want you to be happy, and want to be able to tell you that they care about you. So that's something to keep in mind as well this year. But I do want to wish everyone, all of our listeners, a wonderful holiday season, Merry Christmas, and I'm absolutely with it, Drew.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Merry Chrysler,
Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler. Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Honda days, man.
Yes,
Oh
indeed.
man,
And that is With It or Quit It.
yeah,
Christmas edition.
I love
And
that. That was awesome.
I had something in there, but I went back to my notes. Thank goodness I keep this book from some old episodes. And I
Hmm.
did ask a question about this last year, so I had to mark it out and do something
Okay.
else. It was about eggnog, so I couldn't run that back. So
I feel
that's
you.
why you keep the booklet, just so you don't re-ask the same with the question.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the episode. Make sure you get bundled up and go get that T Public Fanatics merch. We said it earlier. I just
Oh,
want to mention it again because it is really cold right now. We mentioned how cold it is earlier. It's dropped even
13,
lower. It's
13.
11 for me. I mean,
Oh my
so
goodness.
it's brutal. So get bundled up in your Lowdown merch. We got really thick hoodies out there to help you guys out. You can also get long sleeve shirts or crew necks as well. So that's all available and on sale. You won't get it in time for Christmas, but you can get it in time to start the new year for sure, ladies and gentlemen. So go ahead
Absolutely.
and get that merch and plenty of things out there as well. So appreciate
Yeah.
everybody for listening. Follow us on socials as always. We got TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all at _lowdown. That's CHA_lowdown on all those platforms. We will
And
see you guys next week.
And don't forget to shop with Fanatics, Drew. There is a clearance sale going on. $24 or more that you spend, you get up to 75 or up to 70% off, I should say, and free US shipping on orders over $24. 24 ship at Fanatics. Better hurry. I don't think you're going to be able to get anything in time for Christmas if you order now. I think the cutoff was earlier this week, may have been yesterday, but you are still able to get some gifts that will be the start of the year. There's a lot of bowl teams going on, college football, NFL playoff teams. I think the Cowboys just clinched the playoff spot. They got an opportunity, a huge game with the Eagles coming up this weekend, trying to win the division yet again. May not be able to, but maybe they'll get some NFC Championship gear this year. Maybe. Probably not, though.
And we'll catch you next time on The Lowdown. Peace.
Merry Christmas.